Man was stunned to discover that the wife he had always thought of as dull and wooden. She was now performing a sexy dance in the center of the dance floor. For the past 5 years of their marriage, his wife had been gentle, attentive, and caring toward him. Now, she suddenly seemed like a completely different person. Her entire presence was so radiant that one couldn't take their eyes off her. Everyone present was involuntarily drawn to her, and the wife's transformation stirred a wave of jealousy in the man's heart. There was another reason behind the woman's dramatic change. It turned out that a few days earlier, the woman had just walked through the door and caught her husband and son celebrating the return of his first love to the country. Watching the three of them reunite in a sweet, happy embrace, the woman felt she was the one who was truly superfluous. Her husband even drew his first love into his arms. In that moment, the woman's heart was torn apart. Yet the words that her son spoke next completely shattered her heart. Upon hearing her son say he hoped his father's first love would become his mother, the woman was suddenly awakened to reality. Her 5 years of constant companionship and devoted efforts could never replace the first love's place in her husband's heart. Now, even the son she had painstakingly raised had betrayed her. The woman squatted in the pouring rain, weeping inconsolably. Unexpectedly, the next moment, a speeding car struck her and knocked her to the ground. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself lying in a hospital. The woman paused to think for a moment. She decided to feign amnesia to take revenge on her husband. She deliberately asked the man who she was. The man actually told her that they were just friends. Hearing this, the woman was deeply saddened. Just then, her son ran in happily. She thought her son was here to care about her, but to her surprise, her son didn't even glance at her. He urged his father to take him to see the first love's performance. The already impatient man left with his son without so much as a backward glance. He abandoned his wife, who had just been in an accident, alone in the hospital. Seeing this, the woman completely lost hope in both father and son. A month later, the woman was discharged from the hospital and returned home. The servant informed her that she needed to prepare dinner for her husband and son. Thinking of how she had diligently attended to the daily needs of the father and son, she never expected to end up in her current situation. At that moment, her husband came home. He habitually handed his removed jacket to his wife. This time, the woman withdrew her outstretched hand. She demanded to know why he had said they were just friends that day. The husband said that their marriage had been a mistake from the beginning. He had no feelings for her whatsoever. Upon hearing her husband's reply, the last trace of affection in the woman's heart completely dissolved, so she directly asked her husband for a divorce. However, the husband thought that the woman was nothing more than a housewife. He believed that if she left the home, she would not survive even a day. Little did he know, the woman had already resolved never to serve as a free babysitter for the father and son again. She decided to live for herself for once. Then the woman discarded her previous unfashionable clothes. She chose a fresh new hairstyle. From that day on, she vowed to be her true self again. Her husband soon noticed the woman's transformation. He asked her why she was dressed like this. The woman retorted that it was her freedom to dress as she pleased. At this point, her son said that his mother would never be as beautiful as his father's first love. He still hoped that the first love would become his new mother. Hearing this, the woman once again asked her husband for a divorce. That way, they could live happily with the first love as they wished. The husband had planned to wait until the woman fully regained her memory before discussing it, but the woman insisted on a divorce. That evening, the woman went to a bar with her best friend to unwind. Her friend expressed support for her decision, and rejoiced that the woman was able to experience a rebirth like a phoenix. Unexpectedly, the next moment they ran into the man's first love. The first love mistakenly thought that the woman could not live without the man, believing that no matter where she went, the woman would stick close to the man. But the woman told the first love not to worry. She would be divorcing the man soon. She even asked the first love to help persuade the man to agree to the divorce. Remembering that her husband was also at the bar, the woman deliberately took the stage and performed a sexy dance to annoy him. The lively scene instantly caught the man's attention. He watched as his formerly conservative wife now appeared so charming and alluring. A whirlwind of emotions swirled within his heart. Hearing friends praising his wife's figure and commending him on how lucky he was to have such a wife, the man could no longer tolerate his wife dancing on stage, so he deliberately flipped the circuit breaker. Then, under the cover of darkness, he carried his wife away. He tried to restore his wife's memory, but the woman no longer loved him. His actions would only make her hate him more. With no other choice, the man could only remind her that they were still married. He warned the woman not to betray him. Then he left. The next day, the woman was awakened by the ringing of her phone. Her mother-in-law demanded that she come to the old mansion immediately. Unexpectedly, she hung up the phone and went back to sleep. The mother-in-law then called her son. She instructed the man to bring the woman to the old mansion that evening to discuss an important matter. The woman continued to feign amnesia and pretended not to recognize anyone. In front of her mother-in-law, she also asked the man for a divorce. Upon hearing this, the man was furious, but after taking a phone call, he immediately regained his composure. The woman guessed that only his first love could make him gentle. Afterwards, the man went in search of his first love. The next day, the woman attended a business dinner hosted by the Su family. When she learned that the man had also arrived there, she asked her best friend for a voice-altering pill. Then she followed her assistant to meet the head of the Su family. Unexpectedly, just as she stepped into the elevator, the man suddenly appeared in front of her.